And I want to add something that the folks at the White House need to really understand. If Washington takes new hostile steps, it will receive an answer. This applies to any actions against Russian diplomatic mission in the United States, which will immediately backfire at the U.S. diplomats in Russia.
Well, one has to wonder if this was the agenda behind the Russian hacking or all these narratives against Russia to try to foment this war, try to foment the butting of heads between Russia and the United States. And hearing that out of Russia today was something that was very upsetting to me. Now it seems like Russia has finally had enough of U.S. poking them, prodding them, trying to tick them off. It seems like now they've finally had enough. I pray that they can wait another 22 or 23 days, whatever it is, until Trump gets in. But ladies, I'm joined now by Leanne McAdoo and Maggie Howe. It looks like they're going to try to foment this war right up to the very end. They're not going to stop.
At least make it as messy as possible before Obama leaves office to create a massive debacle for Donald Trump to have to deal with and his administration, so they can't move toward making America great again. They're going to have to clean up this mess. So, of course, this Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman is talking about this last-minute provision in the defense authorization bill that was just signed into law by Obama last week. The Russians claim that this is going to allow the U.S. to supply anti-aircraft weapons to the so-called rebels in Syria. Obama wants to make it easier, doesn't want to have to get to the bureaucratic mess of being able to give weapons to these so-called moderate rebels who we know are defecting to ISIS. And, I mean, it's a mess over there. And this is in addition to the fact on the 16th, the U.S. started sending tanks to Europe to send a message to Russia.
Well, and I think that that's treason, what Obama is doing as far as putting weapons into the hands of moderate rebels.
We've been doing this informally since 2013. We've been shipping. We've had arms shipped to Syria. We know exactly where they're going. The problem with this, guys, okay, so the international and political implications of this are unprecedented. What he's trying to do, this false narrative that they hacked our electoral system and they're responsible for putting Trump in office. He has to appear like he's diplomatic now. He's taking aggressive action. He's trying to look presidential, but the only thing he looks like is lame. And the Russians tweeted this out via their UK embassy, this little duck quacking with the words lame over it in English. They say President Obama expels 35 Russian diplomats, Cold War deja vu style, and everyone, including the American people, will be glad to see this hapless administration go. They're calling our presidential administration hapless. I could not agree more with them.
Hapless, and then post a lame duck. I mean, the meme war has taken over here.
Well, we're going to find out if he really is a lame duck, though, because, okay, the lame duck is
lame, not the duck. Just lame.
If he really is a lame duck, then none of this is going to work. We will avoid war. We'll hopefully avoid any retaliation by Russia. We'll avoid this whole mess. Maybe we can find some stabilization in Syria, some stabilization in the Middle East, and get all the lies and misinformation out of it. But just to be clear, what happened, as you mentioned, U.S. expels 35 Russian diplomats. You saw the response from Russia today. U.S. is also announcing new sanctions against Russia. But let's remember, this is all on the heels of Barack Obama saying there's no such thing as a rigged election. I've never heard of a rigged election. And by the way, I love this story out of The Hill. Obama is under pressure to prove Russian interference in election. They still can't prove it.
They can't prove it. Not only that,
offered no proof.
You mentioned Syria. Tayyip Erdogan and Vladimir Putin met today to talk about a ceasefire agreement in Syria.
Left Obama out.
They left the president out. He is so disrespected in the international community. He's not even a part of the talks. We've been the destabilizer in Syria. And for people who aren't following this, we tried to topple Assad. It was very ineffective on our part. Not only was it ineffective, it was embarrassing. And he's been left out of the negotiation table like a petulant child. Now we've thrown 35 Russian diplomats out of the country. He's like a petulant child.
And that's the lame duck aspect, where they don't even have enough respect for him to include him in the ceasefire. They know he would just muddy the waters. That's what he's the best at. But also, here's another lame duck aspect to Obama. We elected Trump.
Right. Well, and so that's kind of the thing, is a lot of people are saying, we've got President-elect Donald Trump there. The Republicans are in control of both houses. So anything that Obama pushes in the last minute and all of his executive orders are just going to easily be overturned. Well, not if he creates such a destabilizing mess. If he's got 4,000 troops on the ground there in Europe, and I mean, what is Trump going to do when he gets in? Pull everything back? I mean, there's going to be absolute chaos. And it's kind of like his little parting gift to the Trump administration.
Well, and I'd love for Barack Obama to just take a golfing trip for the next 3 weeks and do nothing.
I thought he was playing golf.
Just
He's
admit it.
back now. Why stay on vacation? Go to the gym.
Well,
leave everybody else alone. $3.5 million per family vacation. $85 million in total. According
It's
to
up
one
to
federal
96
report.
now.
it'll be
Hawaiian
looking at about
vacation.
100 million.
You know,
when it's all
most
said and done.
Americans are lucky if they can take their kids to a beach in Florida for 2 days. Honestly, for him to spend this sort of money and then to create this havoc, John Rappaport said this today himself, that the ideal scenario for this administration is to create as much turmoil as they possibly to cuck everything up to the point where the first 100 days of Trump's administration is focused on undoing these horrific measures. But it looks like the Russians get it. They get this. I think we're in a holding pattern.
Well, and that's
until
interesting
he's on his way out.
because you talk about getting it. This is one of the major problems that I had today when they had this new thing to build up a war against Russia, the expelling of the 35 Russian diplomats here. It bothers me so much. I'm seeing so much of the American public buy this. I mean, I'm shocked. I go on social media. I see what people are saying about it. I mean, they really believe that Donald Trump is essentially, I guess, a Russian dictator. They really think
Literally
that somehow
Hitler.
we're being influenced by Russia here. I mean, it's the most absurd thing, but they totally believe it.
Right. And I think it kind of speaks volumes to the amount of petulance and disrespect that President Obama hasn't offered any proof of these hacking claims to the House Intelligence Committee. They have yet to receive any of the specific proof. They have not been briefed on this at all. Meanwhile, NBC, the New York Times, all of the media outlets are getting these anonymous sources. So they're being briefed on whatever it is, but the actual, our actual representatives there in the government are not being briefed. I mean, that's why you have people on Twitter and just your average American person out there who's believing the propaganda.
Right. We've been trying to sanction Russia since 2014. Our ambassador in Moscow actually left his post with the tension in Crimea. And we began sanctioning them and forcing our allies, our Western allies, to freeze their assets abroad, to kick their kids out of schools abroad. This is nothing new for this aggressive administration that we have. Fortunately, though, you know, I'm really encouraged with this tweet because it looks like they do understand our political system well. They do understand we don't respect our own president. You know, nobody believes his lies, and because of InfoWars, because of you know, people that want to tell the truth, we're able to pierce the darkness and pull back the veil a little bit from this utter madness. You mentioned proof. He's never needed proof before now. He just spout whatever lie he wanted to.
And ramp up a war and create this chaos with Russia shutting down these compounds, kicking out their diplomats, and not providing any proof to these claims, yet just letting, he actually went out and warned the American people that we should all be very, very afraid of this Russian hacking. I have no proof. It's a big conspiracy theory, but you should all be super afraid, and that's why we're starting World War III.
We're putting missiles on the Polish border and troops and tanks and guns. We're going to just line them all up, you know, because we have that right to, because we're affiliated with a peace agreement, and we have the right to do this. We're the aggressor. People don't understand. We are the aggressor in this case. They're not sanctioning us. They're not putting troops on our border. They don't have any sort of missiles along the Polish border facing us. This is just utter crazy.
Let's put this in perspective for a second. Okay, so they want to say Russia hacked our election. That rhetoric is completely false. The only thing that hacked the election was the Department of Homeland Security. That's been proven.
Right.
So what are we talking about here? Okay, Russia hacked the DNC and Podesta's emails,
Possibly.
right? Okay, so that's what we're being told.
Still disputes that it was Russia that gave them the.
But let's say it was Russia. Okay, so what did Russia do? They exposed corruption. They exposed corruption within our own Democrat Party. Here domestically, they exposed corruption. But whatever. Here's the answer I would like from Obama. He's never going to prove it. Okay, why did Russia hack the DNC and the Podesta emails? What did Russia benefit? How did they benefit? And
how do they benefit from a Trump presidency other than we won't be going to war with them?
And Hillary Clinton said it was just because of a personal beef that Putin had against her. Like, really?
And let's be clear. If Russia is hacking into emails, why aren't the same people who are up in arms to go to war with Russia up in arms with the fact that Hillary Clinton had a private server with secret documents, classified documents on it? If Russia's hacking everything, if Russia's this big bad bear hacking everything, why don't you care about Hillary Clinton's emails that were probably hacked? But good news on the way out. Fox News election coverage tops ESPN primetime ratings. I think people are more concerned about the world than they are about sports. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central.
Our fellow info warriors across the United States and across the planet really love the Hillary for Prison 2016 shirts that we began to put out in 2015. It became a global meme against globalism and corruption, and a very strong maxim that's now being continued on today. Now, President-elect Trump has come out and said it's not his job as president to call for prosecution. He's not supposed to. But that obviously Jeff Sessions, as the new Attorney General, if he's confirmed, will certainly carry out his duties. But Roger Stone a few weeks ago, right after the election, said, Alex, you got to bring Hillary for Prison back. And I said, yeah, but it's a limited edition. It's over. You know, she's been defeated so far. And he said, what about Hillary for Prison 2017? We need those at the inauguration. They're trying to intimidate Trump supporters and nationalists everywhere. That shirt is powerful. It's not just a shirt supporting Trump, like your shirt that says Trump is my president, which we put out before he won, predicting it, putting our name, our guts on the line, but something exposing who the other team was pushing so that people don't forget and so that the push for justice continues. So it's a great way to support the broadcast. It's a great way to have another historic shirt to spread the word and to meet like-minded people of every race, color, and creed who bleed red blood and want justice. It's available. It's another limited run. I don't know how long we're going to offer it, but definitely only a few months. It is Hillary for Prison 2017, and here's the biggest and best part I almost forgot. This shirt arrived in an 18-wheeler, printed right here in the USA a week ago, and I forgot. I've been so busy to even talk about the fact it's been in the store. That on the back of the shirt is a design that I worked on with some of our great graphics people that is George Soros as a goblin. I made a goblin joke a year ago about Trump, saying you better not, actually get in bed with the goblins if he has to work with politicians, but I understand if he has to actually, get knee-deep in their political guts, but he just can't get caught in bed with a goblin. So we now have George Soros, because the media attacked me on this whole goblin meme. They've made huge jokes about it, but it's totally blown up in their face. We now have George Soros as a goblin on the back, and it says with a cross through him, an X like Ghostbusters, no Soros, him as a goblin. It says deport Soros on the bottom, and on the top it says InfoWars established 1996. So it is a limited edition, deport Soros on the back, Hillary for Prison on the front, right-hand shoulder, Infowars.com. It's powerful. Hope you get out to everybody you know. Infowarsstore.com or call 888-253-3139. So to all the fellow liberty lovers around the world, I salute you and thank you for your support. This shirt is a celebration of the fight and the victory we've seen in 2016 against tyranny, but looking forward for justice against George Soros, Hillary Clinton, and their entire criminal network. And don't forget our new motto, no more pizza parties.